Okay, so this trailer is for a sci-fi movie, and I'll be honest with you, the thing that drew me to it as far as being interested to check it out was the title, The Mandela Effect. So I think probably most of us have heard the term the Mandela Effect, and um, I don't really know exactly like the official way to describe it, but from my understanding, what it means, it's like a widespread misunderstanding or misinterpretation of something like let's say everybody thinks that a character says a particular thing in a famous movie a certain way, and so that quote gets repeated over and over and over, except that's not really what the quote was, but everybody's convinced that's what it was. Or everybody's convinced a certain thing specifically happened, and it's just a widespread belief held by people, but they're all wrong. That's the only way that I can think to describe it, and that's probably a very clunky way to describe it, but that's my understanding of it. So I was curious to find out how they would make a movie, based on this sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and check it out right now. I don't know who's in it and don't know the plot or anything, so I'll find that out now. Oh, it's a long trailer, you guys.
Sam.
2.5 minutes.
My precious Sam.
Hey, Sam. Stay where we can see you.
Becoming parents gave Claire and I a greater sense of purpose.
Whoa.
Every day brought with it new memories, each one sacred in its own way.
Except they're not real memories, maybe?
It doesn't feel real.
I know exactly what you mean.
Dad? Dad, I'm scared.
I think I'm going crazy. I saw her.
You should think about talking to someone. Like a grief counselor.
When Sam died, I began to notice these inconsistencies. Do you remember where this was taken?
Yeah, it's Griffith Observatory.
I swear, I remember taking this photograph, but we were in Seattle. How would you feel if you could no longer trust your own memories?
Right.
You remember the children's book when you were growing up about the family of bears?
The Berenstein Bears.
Berenstein. S-T-E-I-N.
They've been hard to reach lately.
I just started noticing some things. And
Like what kind of things?
We're living in parallel universes.
That's been brought up before
Can you
too,
picture
about
the Monopoly Man?
the name of the bears.
What's on his face?
Monocle.
Apparently, it's never been the case. The Mandela effect. Either we're sliding between parallel realities, or like a simulation and it's glitching out.
Do you hear yourself right now?
Already.
Maybe it's in my head, Claire, but what if it's not? Maybe none of this is real.
Well, that was something I saw in one of the thumbnails. That's creepy.
What the hell is going on?
It's gross.
I'm not crazy. I need to know the truth.
What makes you think this is gonna bring your daughter back anyway?
I design games. I code. If this is a simulation, I mean, if this is code, then I can do something.
It's no small thing shutting the world down. There's something you're gonna need to understand. Ideas are dangerous things.
Okay, I'm going to go back and look at this cast list because honestly, I didn't recognize anybody in this trailer. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I like recognizing people because I'm familiar with, like, let's say I see somebody I'm familiar with. Oh, that person. So this is intriguing. Speaking of this guy, saying something about what if this is a game or something along those lines, the Mandela effect. I'm remembering it wrong. But I have heard that theory or whatever put out there before. What if we're living in just like this big computer matrix for real, and what if it's all just a game? And it's funny that that would pop up in this trailer. since the most of the books that I work on in my job have to do with it's a lit RPG, and it has to do with people going into these game worlds and living as if it's their, it's their reality. And in some of that, I mean, the stories are different, each one is different, but it's basically the stories take place in these game worlds. That's what it is. um, so this is interesting to me. I'm curious if that's so. Is that really the approach they're going to take, that this is all just a game and he's maybe somehow going to be able to rewrite code and change things to suit what he wants to happen? Um, or are we going to find out that he's just crazy and he's been in a mental institution the whole time and all this takes place in his head? I can't stand movies like that. Well, I guess it all depends on how it's done, but those types of endings or wrap up type, answers, scenarios, they kind of annoy me because they just feel like it just feels like lazy writing to me. And it's like I put all this time, this emotional investment in the story, and you find out it's just nothing, it's not even real. It's just this imagination, or it's just a dream this person had, or it's just another identity they had. Like I heard about the movie Identity, I know how that goes. And so I've stayed away from it for that reason, because I know what the twist is. And it's like, ah, man, one of those. So anyway, but I don't know that that's going to be the case with this. I'm just speculating, but it certainly does present a pretty interesting premise, and I'm curious to find out how it will go. If he, will be able to get his daughter back or whatever, if it's going to have a happy ending for him or not. I'm guessing probably not, because a lot of times, well, it's a sci-fi movie, so maybe it's not really a horror. Um, so yeah, I mean, whenever this shows up for me on a streaming service around, I'll check it out. Don't know when, but I'm certainly, not averse to watching it, because I want to find out what happens, what are the answers. And I'm curious, why is it called the Mandela effect? I'm going to need to research that and figure out why. I'm pretty sure I've probably read why before, but it's not coming to me. Like, I don't remember the reason why it's called that. It's probably going to explain that in the movie. But anyway, so as far as the trailer goes, to be honest, it felt, while the premise is interesting and this is something that I do want to check out, I honestly, I don't know what's going on. Let me make sure my camera's still going. Anyway, back to what I was saying, that while I do feel that the premise is interesting, um, the way the trailer was constructed, it definitely felt long. It was more than 2.5 minutes, and I feel like it just dragged on a bit too much. I felt like there were parts where things just felt a little clunky and didn't flow very well. And that to me was kind of a downside as far as the trailer goes, because while I was intrigued, I was aware this is going on a bit too long. I think that they're showing things that they don't really need to be showing. This is dragging. You don't really need 2.5 minutes to create an effective trailer. Yes, I have seen trailers that are this long before, or sometimes longer, and they didn't feel like they were that long, and it was just all in the construction. With regard to the way this one was formed, it it became very obvious that it was long and draggy. Um, so I feel like I don't want to say it's not an effective trailer, because I'm definitely intrigued, and that's the whole purpose of a trailer, right? You want people to be interested in the story that you've written. So it's not that it's an ineffective trailer in that regard, but in my opinion, it's not very effectively done. It wasn't constructed in a nice, fluid way. The narrative didn't feel like it flowed well, and so it's like they just kept throwing stuff in there to add to it, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just felt like, I personally feel like that they kind of overdid it. So I don't know. I just that's just the main thing that I noticed about the actual trailer itself. The construction of the trailer and the narrative and everything. So certainly not enough to dissuade any interest that I have, but I feel like it was kind of a flaw as far as the trailer itself goes. But anyway, okay, well, that is this one. Gonna wrap it up. Later, guys.